Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, dear students, today we are going to study remaining portion of the sex determination system. So, today we will be covering genic sex determination system and then environmental sex determination system, and after that, sex determination in Drosophila and in human beings. So, first of all, genic sex determination system. So, in some plants and protozoans, sex is genetically determined. But there are no obvious differences in the chromosomes of males and females, which means that there are no sex chromosomes. And these organisms have, therefore, genic sex determination system. And this means that there are certain genotypes at one or more loci that are involved in determining the sex of an individual. So it is important to understand that even in the chromosomal sex determination system, sex is actually determined by the individual genes. So there is only one difference, that in the case of chromosomal sex determination systems, there are there are different chromosomes in males and females, but in the case of some protozoans and some plants, because there is no difference in the shape of chromosomes, so in these cases there are certain genes which are determining the sex of the individual. But actually, in the chromosomal sex determination system, also the genes are involved, and those genes are determining the sex of the individual. So, for example, in mammals, a gene SRY, sex determining region on Y chromosome, is located on the Y chromosome, and this SRY gene is involved in the determination of male phenotypes. So this SRY gene is associated with the male phenotype, and whenever this gene will be present, phenotype of the individual will be male. So in both genic sex determination and chromosomal sex determination, sex is controlled by individual genes. And the only difference is that with chromosomal sex determination, the chromosomes that carry those genes appear different in males as well as in females. So shape of the chromosome is somewhat different. For example, Y chromosome is different from the X chromosome. So next is the environmental sex determination system. And genes have had a role in all the examples of sex determination that we have discussed thus far in our previous lectures. So, but the sex is determined fully or in part by environmental factors in a number of organisms. And one such important and fascinating example of environmental sex determination is seen in the case of marine mollusk, and that marine mollusk is Crapidula fornicata, and it is also known as common slipper limpet. And in this common slipper limpet, sex is determined by the position of the individual in a stack of many individuals. So if we look at this figure, we can see that when a larva that settles on the unoccupied substrate, it develops into a female, and then it produces some chemicals which are used to attract other larvae, and the larva attracted by the female then settles on top of it. This is female, and then the newly attracted is male, and then it mates, which becomes mate for the original female. And then when the time passes, eventually the male which is on the top switches its sex and becomes female and starts producing chemicals which then attract new larva, and that new larva then comes and settles on it. And in this way the position of the individual is important in determining the sex of the individual. Then they attract additional larvae which settle on the top of the stack and develop into the female. So in this example, position of the limpet in the stack is very important in determining the gender. So if we look at the details, the slipper limpet lives in stacks and one on the top of another. So each limpet begins its life as a swimming larva, and the first larva to settle on the solid, unoccupied substrate develops into a female limpet, and then it produces chemicals that attract the other larvae which settle on top of it, and these larvae develop into males which then serve as a mate for the limpet below. And after a period of time, the males on the top develop into female and in turn attract additional larvae, and then those additional larvae settle on the top of the stack and they develop into males and serve as the mate for the limpet under them. So limpets can form stacks of a dozen or more animals. The uppermost animal is always male. So this type of sexual development is known as the sequential hermaphroditism. And in the sequential hermaphroditism, each individual animal can be both male and female, although not at the same time. A same individual can be male and female, but at different times. So in Crapidula fornicata, sex is determined by environmental factors, by limpet's position in the stack. So position of the animal is important in determining the gender of the individual in the stack. So environmental factors are also important in determining sex in many reptiles. Many reptiles also have some environmental factors in deciding their genders. So although most of the snakes and lizards have sex chromosomes, but in many turtles, crocodiles, and alligators, temperature during embryonic development determines the sexual phenotype of the individual. For example, in turtles, when temperature is warm, females are produced. But when temperature is cool, then males are produced. And in the case of alligators, reverse is true. So temperature is an environmental factor in deciding the phenotype of the individual, whether it will be a female or it will be a male in the case of turtles, crocodiles, and alligators. So this type of gender determination is environmental. Now we will discuss sex determination in Drosophila. And in the Drosophila you already know it is a fruit fly, and its scientific name is Drosophila melanogaster, and it has 8 chromosomes in total. And in these 8 chromosomes, 3 pairs are of autosomes and 1 pair is of the sex chromosomes. So normally females have 2x chromosomes like humans, and males have an X and a Y chromosomes. However, the presence of this Y chromosome is not important. So, in determining the gender in gender in Drosophila. So, this Y chromosome is not determining the maleness in Drosophila. So, instead, each fly's sex is determined by a balance between the genes on the autosomes and the genes on the X chromosomes. So, this type of gender determination is known as the genic balance system. Although it's a type of chromosomal sex determination, but in the chromosomal sex determination, this genic balance is very important in determining the gender of the male and female flies. So, if we look at this figure, there are total 8 chromosomes, so 4 pairs. In the females, there are 2 X chromosomes, but in the case of males, there is an X and Y. But this Y, presence of this Y is not deciding the maleness of this male fly. So, this maleness and femaleness is actually determined by a ratio. So, in this system, a number of genes seem to influence sexual development. The X chromosome contains genes with female producing effects, whereas the autosomes contain genes with the male producing effect. And consequently, a fly's sex is determined by the X to A ratio. X chromosome to autosome ratio is very important, and this ratio is determined the number of X chromosome divided by the number of haploid sets of the autosomal chromosomes, and then this ratio decides whether the individual will be male or female. So if the ratio of X to A, X to autosome ratio is 1, then the phenotype will be female fly, and if this ratio is 0.5, then it produces a male individual, and if this X to A ratio is less than 0.5, a male phenotype is produced. But the male fly produced by this ratio is weak as well as sterile, and such flies are sometimes also known as meta. They are also called meta males. So a ratio between 1 and 0.5 produces a fly which is intersex, and in intersex flies a mixture of male and female characteristics are found. So male features and female features both are present in the intersex fly, and this ratio is between 1 and 0.5. So if the ratio is greater than 1, then the phenotype of the fly will be female, but these flies are also known as meta females, and they have serious developmental problems and may never emerge from the pupal case. So they have very serious developmental issues, and they cannot develop fully. So flies with 2 sets of autosomes and XXY sex chromosomes, and when the ratio is 1, then they develop as a fully fertile females, because ratio is 1. So ratio is important in the case of Drosophila. So even if an extra X chromosome, uh, 2 X chromosomes are present, and there is a Y chromosome also. So even Y chromosome is present, but ratio of X chromosome to autosomes is 1. So fully fertile females will be produced even if the Y chromosome is present. So by this we can uh, we can easily observe that presence of Y chromosome is not dependent, is not involved in determination of the gender of the individual, and it is totally opposite when from the humans. When humans have, when a human being has a Y chromosome, his or her phenotype will be, his phenotype will be male. But in the case of Drosophila, even if a Y chromosome is present, but the ratio of the X to A is 1, then fully fertile females will be produced. And flies with only a single X chromosome develop as a male, although they are sterile, because the ratio is 0.5. So if ratio is 0.5, though they will develop into males, although there is no Y chromosome. So these observations are confirming that the Y chromosome is not involved in sex determination in the Drosophila. So in the Drosophila, ratio of the X chromosome to autosomes is important in determining the gender of the individuals. So mutations in genes that affect the sexual phenotype in Drosophila have also been isolated, and there are two examples. For example, the transformer mutation is a mutation that is involved in converting a female with a ratio of 1 into a phenotypic male. So mutations are there which are transforming the phenotype of the individual. So we have already seen that if the ratio of X to A is 1, then phenotype will be female. But if a mutation is present in the transformer gene, then this mutation is capable of transforming or converting the female phenotype into the male phenotype, even if the ratio is 1. So whereas the double sex mutation transforms normal males and females into flies with intersex phenotype. So mutants are always important, and they are also involved in converting the phenotypes, normal phenotypes to other phenotypes. So environmental factors such as temperature are also important and can also affect the development of the sexual characteristics. So the temperature at which the flies are being produced is also important, and the temperature can also affect the different developmental characteristics. So in this table we can have a summary, of different ratios. If sex chromosome complement, or so sex chromosomes are these, and haploid sets of autosomes are these, then what will be the ratios, and by when all these ratios are present in individuals, what will be their sexual phenotype. So when ratio is 1, always female is produced, and then when, but if a mutation is present, that can convert this female to male. So normally when this ratio is present, female will be produced, and when the ratio is 0.5, males will be produced. So similarly you can also keep in mind all the ratios, that how gender is determined in the Drosophila. So now coming towards the sex determination in human beings. So humans like Drosophila have XX and XY sex determination system, but in the case of humans, the presence of a gene on the Y chromosome determines the maleness. in Drosophila, Y chromosome was not important in deciding the maleness. Instead, a ratio of X to A was important in deciding the maleness in Drosophila. But in the case of humans, Y chromosome is important in determination of the maleness character. So phenotypes resulting from the abnormal number of sex chromosomes illustrate the importance of Y chromosome in human sex determination. And these abnormal number of chromosomes arise when the sex chromosome do not segregate properly in the meiosis or mitosis. So during the gamete formation, if some abnormalities arise, then there are problems, and by looking at we will also look at some phenotypes in our today's lecture. So the process of meiosis should be a normal process, and if this process has some issues and segregation is not proper, then there could be some phenotypes which are abnormal phenotypes, and individuals will suffer from having those abnormal number of sex chromosomes. So first of all, a condition known as the Turner syndrome, and the individuals with this Turner syndrome are females, and these females do not undergo puberty, and their female secondary sex characters remain immature. So they do not develop into a normal female, and their secondary sex characters remain immature, and they have menstruation problems, and almost in most of the cases menstruation is absent, and they also have breast development issues, and their breast development is slight, and they also have sparse pubic hairs, and affected women are frequently short in stature, and they have a very low hairline. They have relatively broad chest, and they also have folds of skin on their necks, but their intelligence is usually normal. So they are intelligent, and there are no intelligence issues. And most women who have the Turner syndrome, they are sterile. They cannot give birth to babies. So these are the characteristic features of the Turner syndrome, and this syndrome is seen in one of 3,000 female births. Its prevalence is 1 in 3,000 female births. And this was first time discovered by Ford using a new technique of karyotyping. So he discovered that the cells from a 14-year-old girl who has Turner syndrome, and she is only having a single X chromosome. So this X chromosome complement is usually referred to as the XO, and this O signifies the absence of second X chromosome. So there are no known cases in which a person is missing both X chromosomes, and this is indicating that at least one X chromosome is needed. One X chromosome is always necessary for the development of human in human beings. So embryos who are missing both X chromosomes, they are spontaneously aborted in the early stages or of their development and they are not born. So this observation suggests that at least one copy of the X chromosome is necessary for human development. If both copies of X chromosomes are not present, then the individual will not be produced and most probably be aborted in the early stages of the development. As you can see this figure of karyotyping. So in this karyotype, you can see that only single X chromosome is present and there is no other counterpart of this X chromosome. So this condition is referred to as XO. So this is the Turner syndrome in which one X chromosome is missing in the females. So next condition is Klinefelter syndrome, and people who are having Klinefelter syndrome, they are males and it occurs with a frequency of 1 in 1000 male births, and they have cells with one or more Y chromosomes and multiple X chromosomes. So whenever a Y chromosome is present, phenotype will be male. And in the case of Klinefelter syndrome, the cells of the individuals have one or more Y chromosome and multiple X chromosomes. So the cells of most males having this condition are XXY, but the cells of a few males with this syndrome are XXY, tetra XY, or XXY. So you can also look at the karyotype of this in the individual having Klinefelter syndrome. There is an extra X chromosome, two X chromosome and one Y chromosome is present. So persons with this condition, although they are male, but they have small testes and some also have breast enlargement and they also have reduced facial as well as pubic hairs. They are often taller than the normal and they are also sterile and they cannot produce offsprings. So these are the features, and like Turner syndrome, they also have normal intelligence. Their intelligence is also normal, but they cannot produce babies and they have small testes and also breast enlargement and low facial and pubic hair. They are taller than normal and they are sterile and have normal intelligence. So next condition is polyX females. So in polyX females, prevalence of the disease is 1 in 1000 female births and the child's cells possess 3 X chromosomes, and therefore this condition is also known as triplo X syndrome. 3 X chromosomes are present. So these persons have no distinctive features, but there are some features such as a tendency to be tall and thin. They are tall and they are thin, and although a few are sterile, many have no menstruation problem and they are fertile. So the incidence of mental retardation among triple X females is slightly greater than the general population. So they have tendency of being mentally retarded or intellectual disability will be present in the females having triple X chromosomes, but most of the triple X females have normal intelligence. So mostly the individuals having triple X chromosomes are normally intelligent, but they have the tendency to be mentally retarded. So degree of mental retardation is depending on the number of X chromosome which are present beyond normal number. So much rare are the women whose cells contain 4 or 5 X chromosomes. So having 4 or 5 X chromosome is a very rare condition. So these women usually have normal female anatomy, but they are mentally retarded, and they have a number of other physical problems also. So the severity of mental retardation increases as the number of X chromosomes increase beyond 3. When 4 or 5 X chromosomes are present, mental retardation or intellectual disability problem will be enhanced. But in the case of 3X chromosomes, there is a tendency of having the mental retardation, but mostly the individuals having triple X chromosomes have normal intelligence. So now coming towards the role of sex chromosomes. So phenotypes associated with sex chromosome anomalies suggests that the role of sex chromosome in human determination is very important. And the first one is the X chromosome contains essential genes, essential genetic information for both the genders. And at least one copy of an X chromosome is needed for the normal development of human embryo. And second one is that male determining gene is located on the Y chromosome, and a single copy of this chromosome, even in the presence of several X chromosome, always produces a male phenotype. So whenever Y chromosome will be present, phenotype of the individual will be male. And third point is that absence of the Y chromosome always results in a female phenotype. When there is no Y chromosome, phenotype of the individual will be female. And next point is that genes affecting fertility are located on both X and Y chromosomes. And a female usually needs at least 2 copies of the X chromosome to be a normal fertile female. So if a female has less number of chromosome, it can affect its fertility. So additional copies of the X chromosome may also upset normal development in both males and females. Whenever additional X copy of the X chromosome is present, it is affecting the normal process of development. So the producing physical and mental problems. So when additional copies are present, they are producing physical and mental problems that increase as the number of extra X chromosome increases. With the increasing number of X chromosomes, physical problems and mental issues are also increased. So looking at this figure, you can see that Y chromosome in the human beings is very small, and it has a region known as SRY, which is important in determining the maleness. So this region is very important, and it contains the SRY gene, and this gene is only present on the Y chromosome, and it determines the maleness in the males. Although there are some conditions in which uh, individuals are genetically females because they have 2X chromosomes, but they are phenotypically males. So in these genetically female males, the part of this SRY gene is located on some autosome, and this is an abnormality, and this part of this Y chromosome region is present on any other autosomal chromosome, so that region will be responsible for creating the maleness. Although they will be having two X chromosomes in their cells, but their phenotype will be male. So we will discuss that condition in our next lecture. So until now you should keep in mind that there are some certain conditions, but when normally everything is going normally, then two X chromosomes will produce a female, and presence of a Y chromosome will be determining the male character in the individuals. So this SRY region is very important in determining maleness in the case of males. So this is our end of our today's lecture, and I think this is very important, and you should have understood all the things which we have discussed today. So even if somebody has some more clarification and any issues or questions, we can discuss in our online session. So please go through this lecture and carefully listen the video, and if you have some question, note the questions, and then when we will be meeting online during the question answer session, we can discuss the issues, and then the uh, there will be, if there will be any problem, we will be looking at it and make further clarifications. So thank you for now. See you in the online session. Okay, Allah Hafiz.